Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. Hope you are great. I mean, this story is not great one, but this is also me creating awareness so everybody can really be very careful because at this point in time, ICE is going around also detaining black people. Why are they detaining black people and why are they going to people's places, houses in the middle of the night to arrest them? Is that how crazy they are? Arresting people by 12 a.m. or 11 p.m. in the middle of the night when people are already sleeping. What if you bash into somebody's house, somebody that has high blood pressure, and the person dies? Bashing into somebody's house when they are naked. What kind of story is this? And then handcuffing them, even when you know they are African Americans, when they are black people. This is not okay. This shouldn't be happening. I don't understand why ICE decided to go there, knowing it is fully African Americans living there. And then scaring the children away. Because they also arrested family with children too. Put PP on people's faces, handcuffs, and all that. And ended up being released by 3, 4 a.m. What kind of story is this? Everybody, please be very careful. Let's get into this video.
Black Americans were being detained, their children being zip tied, some of them being half naked due to ICE. They were telling the people, even if it has nothing to do with immigration, if they have a warrant, we're taking them in. They were taking people. And these are people's testimony, not mine. And the news is not reporting on it. This is very frustrating because the beginning when these mass deportations started, I'm Puerto Rican myself, and I already knew from the very beginning, it's common sense that some of our people are going to be detained for hours on end until we can prove that we're citizens. And that's not fair because we look like many nationalities. Pisses me off. And this is happening to black Americans in Chicago right now. And wherever you stand on the whole conversation right now, really doesn't matter. My thought process is, where are the Black Panthers? Where are the Young Lords? Where's the Chicano movements? Where are the Asian organizations? And so on. Where are our leaders? We used to have the Martin Luther Kings, the Lolita Lebron, the Malcolm X's, and I could keep going on. Where are they at? I feel like after so much time has passed during civil rights movements, everything died down. People got comfortable, and now we're weak. For people allow this type of stuff to happen. Militaries in our cities, ICE just grabbing people off the street, going into apartment complexes where you sleep, and they're over here saying, oh, well, we suspect this apartment complex to be filled with trendy agua, if I'm saying that correctly. And people are just letting it happen. We have gotten soft. And I'm not inciting violence or telling you to start up a movement or anything. I'm just wondering, where are these people that show a force, that were assertive, non-violent, to show out for the communities? Before, gangs used to protect the neighborhoods and stuff like that. I know in Chicago they said, oh, well, if ICE comes into the neighborhood, like, that's a bad idea, but where are they now? These are people's testimonies. There's videos coming out, people telling exactly what happened. They started segregating Hispanics and Black Americans. And we are all standing for that. You know, when you allow one group to be oppressed, another group is going to be oppressed, and it continues on. And that's exactly what's happening in Trump's America. So there you have it, guys. What are we doing at this point as people? And I say this to build each other up. Watch out for your neighbor. despite if they're Black American, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Mexican, doesn't matter. Look out for your peoples. Because right now, this is when we need each other most. With that being said, I'm going to leave you with that. Make sure you like this video, comment, repost, share, and as always, follow me.
Get him, Puffy.
Everyone is at risk. ICE reportedly is now beginning to arrest African Americans. I have seen some videos, including on TikTok, that show one African American in a chokehold being.
ICE is now detaining African American citizens in Chicago, like as we speak. And the governor has come out and said to record everything, narrate everything, make sure everything is documented, ask for their badge number, even if they refuse, get them on camera. But I'm gonna say that again. ICE is now detaining Black citizens in Chicago. For every Black American that got on the internet and this app and refused to talk about what ICE was doing and what is going on in our country, because I don't really care about the Hispanic community because they don't care about us, which is BS in of itself, but that's a whole nother conversation. We told you that we would be next, right? And y'all didn't listen. And look. So this is a sign for everyone to get off their damn high horses and start caring about what is going on in your communities and in your nation. Whether or not is this happening to someone who looks like you. Simply because we are human. This shit is not okay. And we've been yelling that.
So me and my homie was talking about the ICE agents causing a snowstorm around Chicago. And like, he was telling me how he went to the Apple store downtown and he could tell all the Black flurries and the Hispanic flurries was kind of ashamed to be a part of the snowstorm, right? And like, he was like, yeah, you could tell like the white ones was clearly MAGA, ready to arrest anybody who looks at them a wrong way and keep it moving with they entitled lives. But none of the Black people will look him in the eye. None of the Hispanic people will look him in the eye. You could tell like capitalism is a hell of a drug because they are paying those people a nice amount of money. But is your character worth the coin? I'll let you answer that. But what gagged me is when he offered his perspective of seeing people in zip ties downtown Chicago versus a white woman's perspective who had happened to be there at the same time as him. He's down there thinking like, oh shit, they just zip tied a bunch of Black folks on 75th not too long ago. Let me hope I don't get arrested and get the fuck up out of here. He sees a white woman with red hair who looks like the lady from Abbott Elementary, and she's going up to the snow flurry agents and thanking them for their services. And you see, here's my thing, right? I remember in June when Doechii won the BET Award at the BET Awards during the first deployment of, I believe, agents in LA. And all the African American people, and I'm talking about because I love the homo people accountable because I love my people. Girl, they can't do nothing to us. We built this country. Yes, we built this country, but has that stopped them from doing shit to us? Like, let's just go back to the 60s. Fuck it, let's go back to the 90s. Let's go back to the 80s. Let's go back to yesterday. Has that stopped them from doing weird shit to us? Has that stopped the from doing shit to us? I always say, if you think for a second the things that they do to people who are not Black won't be happening to the people who are actually Black, you crazy than a motherfucker. And I'm gonna just say this. Not all Hispanic people are racist. No. So we don't need to throw away a whole race of people because there is a chunk who obtain to white supremacy, just like there are Black people who aspire to white supremacy, but that's a whole different conversation. It shouldn't take us to be the ones in zip ties in the very early stages of such to finally start being like, this is some bullshit, fuck ICE. But that was just a crazy, like, little story time he gave me on where our country stands Some people are living the best days of their lives, or at least putting on the facade that they are, because the economy is fucked up for everyone right now. That's why everybody and their mama on tour. And some people are just hoping to make it home without getting arrested for no reason. Or should I say, detained.
ABC Chicago reported yesterday that ICE agents went into neighborhoods, went into apartment buildings, and took people out at night around 10-11 p.m. and would not release a lot of people until 3 a.m., detaining many. Adults that were detained said that they had children in zip ties tied to each other and walked out of their apartment, detaining them until their adult caretaker was released, if they were. And apparently the FBI also confirmed that they were a part of this operation. I'm happy that the mayor has asked for so many people to document everything, and that's what's happening, and they're sending them into the local news, who is then amplifying their voices. Here's a news clip that I'd like you to see.
Woman who actually lives in this building, and she says she was detained by ICE agents overnight, and she says they took everyone and then asked questions later.
They just treated us like we were nothing.
Patricia Fisher says she came out to the hallway of her apartment complex on the corner of 75th and South Shore Drive in her nightgown around 10 Monday night, only to find ICE agents yelling police.
It was scary because I've never had a gun put in my face. They asked my name and my date of birth and asked me did I have any warrants, and I told them no, I didn't.
She says she was then handcuffed and released around 3 a.m. Fisher says she was told if anyone had any kind of warrant out for them, even if it was unrelated to immigration, they would not be released. Citizen App video shows the chaotic scene overnight. Neighbors tell us there were dozens of ICE agents. Neighbors like Ebony Watson says they ducked for cover as they heard several flashbangs go off.
They was terrified. The kids was crying. People was screaming. They looked very distraught. I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner. Because they was bringing the kids out too. Had them zip tied to each other. That's all I kept asking. Where's the morality? Where's the human?
ICE agents are now going into apartment buildings in Chicago, and they are removing everyone at night, handcuffing the adults, zip tying the children, and not releasing them for hours on end if they get released at all. And doing it at night sounds like a familiar tactic, doesn't it? I'm getting very jealous of the countries that can just do a vote of no confidence and just remove their administration for competence, for illegal actions, for behaviors that don't align with the country and the ways that they're moving. I'm getting very jealous. Congress, it's time for you to explore your options. It's time for you to explore your options. Start with the 25th Amendment and work from there.
So Monday night at about 10 p.m., a group of ICE agents raided a building in Chicago. Majority, if not everyone in this building, were United States citizens, and they were Black. Interesting, I know, right? They arrested people from their sleep, took kids, put them in Ziploc ties, tied their hands up, same exact thing for the adults. And an eyewitness account says that they asked her, "Do you have any warrants?" Which is very interesting considering ICE is immigration. ICE is immigration, babes. You're not law enforcement. So you asking if someone has warrants is weird. You should probably start off with, do you have papers? But I digress. They took everyone away that had warrants. Okay, they did not release them again. But this mass roundup of random people without cause is a constitutional crisis. Because the Constitution says that you should, in fact, feel safe in your person and your effects from unreasonable searches and seizures. Right? Like, That's why you kind of have to have probable cause. And probable cause being someone sleeping in their apartment don't quite fit the bill. That's not how none of that works. Okay? This is a travesty. Make no mistake. And it's something that should have never occurred, especially in Chicago, especially where you know that they're about to press them charges. Yes, they're about to press charges because that's not how anything works. Now, another part of this story that's very important is that people were awakened to the sound of people screaming or yelling, "Police!" Baby, you're not police. You're not police. You're ICE. You're ICE. And the fact that this whole ICE thing has turned into, some type of video game play for weird people is very interesting to me. But the reason why I bring this up is because we're currently in the middle of a government shutdown. And for the past couple days, okay, I have been lobbying you all to understand what's important by priority and what's not, right? Excuse the fly. It's on my nerves. And what's not, okay? The thing about leadership and leading specifically in this type of government is that the chaos is the fact that everything is happening at one time, right? And so when you're taking a look at all of these issues, you're trying to figure out, where do I start? Like, everything is going up in flames. Everything is broken. Everything is all bad, right? And the thing about a bunch of issues that's happening at one time is that the only way for you to be able to be prescriptive and how to address all the issues is you have to stop the issues. You got to stop it. You have to stop it, okay? You don't really know what's all going on until you stop anything extra from going on. I don't know about you guys, but there's times where I feel overstimulated. It's like too many people talking or too many people talking too loud, X, Y, and Z. You tell everybody to hush. I can't think. Stop. That's because that actually works. Like, you absolutely have to stop everything from going on. And you may say, well, Tori, how do we stop it? Midterm elections, babes. Listen, I'm so glad you asked. Midterm elections. And you may say, Tori, how does this help us in midterm elections? Because impeachment allows Congress to move agency heads as well. Why is this important? Because you got the FBI out here talking about yes, we were working with ICE in order to do a targeted immigration, tactical experience or event. Baby, ain't nothing targeted. First of all, y'all didn't even have the necessary paperwork to be up in them people building. You gotta have a signed warrant, not just a warrant. You need that signature on that paper for you could just roll up and start taking anybody. Duh. Y'all ain't even had that. Because there is no judge that's just gonna allow you to snatch everybody out of an apartment building. That's not how that works. But guess what continues if the Democrats do not have the majority? Yeah, the same stuff we've been going through. Pe0ple, yeah, you can get him up out of there just by flipping the House and the Senate. Hello? Yeah, you can go and get them up out of there. That Attorney General? Impeach them all. Get them all up out of there. Like, are you picking up what I'm putting down? And I really think that the best possible way for you to be able to understand what's actually going on, right? About how everything could play out is for you to watch a Nixon documentary. is for you to watch a Nixon documentary. I'm actually going to have a Nixon episode on my podcast on Substack. That is the subscription-based podcast. It is my second podcast, and that's going to have totally different content than the content that's on the free podcast, which will be on Apple and that's on YouTube. But the reason why it's very important for you to be able to see the process of what happened with Nixon and all of those people that got jail time is because that same thing can happen today. It can happen today if you just go ahead and flip that House. If you just go ahead and flip that Senate. May I encourage you to go ahead and give them blue boys a supermajority, because everything stops. Everything stops. But in order for us to actually begin to fix a situation, you have to stop the allowance of new and continued situations to happen. The only way to do that is via your midterm elections and your special elections. I need you to be in the booth. For those of you that are in Virginia, there's a debate for the for the governor's seat. There's a debate October 9th. I may or may not go live for that.
Did you hear about the midnight raid in South Shore in Chicago? Here's what just happened and why this matters to you. Are you ready? Let's go. So last night in Chicago's South Shore, federal agents, ICE, swarmed a residential building. Did y'all hear about this? Okay. Now, this was in the dark of early morning that this happened, and the operation actually left these black folks, these residents, traumatized. Because wouldn't you be? Yeah. So questioning constitutional boundaries was absolutely what happened, and demanding accountability is the next thing. So voices from the ground, and what we should be watching for is what we're getting ready to go over right now. You ready? If you're not, go ahead and scroll on now, because a lot of y'all like to argue and stuff and say that we're lying and we're making this up. But baby, this was reported on by their local news. So the raid took place around 75th and South Shore Drive, according to DHS. There were 37 arrests that were made, with the CBP, the FBI, and the ATF that was involved. Now, their media confirms that U.S. citizens were among those that were detained, though temporarily. Now, residents report agents asking names, birth dates, and demands of warrants, even unrelated ones. There is actual video of people in zip ties being led to a nearby school lot at 1 o'clock in the morning. Now, witnesses have actually described tear gas, flashbangs, property destruction, and van transports segregating black people from immigrants. Now, here's what some of the folks that were there actually said. They just treated us like we were nothing. It was scary because I had never had a gun in my face. They asked, "Do you have any warrants?" I told them, no, I didn't. They're like piling us all up. It wasn't no room to move anywhere. They was terrified. The kids was crying. They had them zip tied together. One of them literally laughed and said, "Fuck them kids." They had big 15-inch chainsaws cutting the fence down. They had the black people in one van and the immigrants in another. I was placed in a plastic zip tie handcuffs and detained for nearly 2 hours. Once I went into the hallway, they put us in the plastic wristband thingies. They just took our information. Someone else said, "I don't like how they did it, because us Americans, we didn't have anything to do with them." Now, these aren't isolated testimonies, folks. These are a painted pattern of mass detentions, indiscriminate treatment, and fear in a black neighborhood with Americans. Okay. So here are the constitutional concerns. The raid raises urgent Fourth Amendment questions: search, seizure, warrants, detaining U.S. citizens under suspicion of immigration violations or unrelated warrants erodes legal protections. Number one, racial and community impact. So South Shore is predominantly a Black neighborhood. So this kind of forceful nighttime raid, sweeping entire buildings, fuels distrust, trauma, and the question, who is being policed? But we don't need to ask that question, because what were you doing there anyway? You already knew. Transparency and accountability. DHS, ICE, they've made statements but have not released full arrest records or evidence backing gang affiliation claims. Communities deserve clarity. But in this case, no one cares until it's your neighborhood. Precedent and ripple effect. If allowed unchecked, this kind of tactic may expand into other vulnerable neighborhoods across the country. So here's the question. You ready? Is ICE or DHS publishing detailed warrants or arrest justifications? Which detainees are being charged and for what? Do we know? What legal challenges are going to follow? Will constitutional rights be asserted in court? How will community leaders respond? Protests, legal suits, public pressure, we're going to see about that too. And what federal oversight or local pushback will emerge from this? Because the question is if you're doing this in one Black community, oh baby, listen, this is just the beginning. So what's your call to action? Share this information, look for answers, continue to keep your ear to the street, and demand answers from your elected officials in your community. Find out how protected you are and learn and understand exactly what that amendment says. And what is that? The Fourth Amendment, folks. Let's not get beside ourselves and not do the research or the due diligence that is necessary. It is the Fourth Amendment. Because see, when your neighbors are terrorized in the middle of the night, silence is complicity. Are you complicit? Hope not. For more news and information that you can always use, head over to brownstoneworldwide.com, Cityscape Radio, and you guessed it, Brownstone Living magazine. We'll see you around.
Back in June, I was called a tether by my own people because I was telling Black Americans that we are not absolved from the harms of ICE and that it's been important to advocate for immigrant community because the Americanness was never going to save us because they will see the Blackness first. I also said they're not going to be asking anybody for their IDs or their birth certificate. And here we are at the beginning of October, where a community of Black American people have been picked up by ICE. And not only were these Black Americans picked up and detained by ICE, but their entire building, their homes, their apartments were ransacked and left in complete disarray.
ICE is the police. We have always seen that when it comes to Black folks, that police tend to often get it wrong with us. They identify the criminality based on the rape. And y'all don't think that ICE does the same?
So let's be very clear. If you didn't know it then, maybe you'll learn it now. Solidarity in these times is what's going to save us. Coming together and recognize that we have the same boot on our necks will get us out of our egos and maybe the fortitude to protect each other. Because while folks make the joke, oh, where are they gonna send us to? We're American. You do know they don't give a damn. And that they've also been sending people to places outside of their home countries. And for those who have been paying attention, some folks get picked up and disappear. And that's very real.
ICE is now going after and detaining all Black people in Chicago, including Black Americans, regardless of your citizenship status and regardless if you are native to this country.
Lives in this building, and she says she was detained by ICE agents overnight, and she says they took everyone and then asked questions later.
They just treated us like we were nothing.
Patricia Fisher says she came out to the hallway of her apartment complex on the corner of 75th and South Shore Drive in her nightgown around 10 Monday night, only to find ICE agents yelling police.
It was scary because I've never had a gun put in my face. They asked my name and my date of birth and asked me did I have any warrants, and I told them no, I didn't.
She said she was then handcuffed and released around 3 a.m. Fisher says she was told if anyone had any kind of warrant out for them, even if it was unrelated to immigration, they would not be released. Citizenat video shows the chaotic scene overnight. Neighbors tell us there were dozens of ICE agents. Neighbors like Ebony Watson says they ducked for cover as they heard several flashbangs go off.
They was terrified. The kids was crying. People was screaming. They looked very distraught.
I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner because they was bringing the kids out too. Had them zip tied to each other. That's all.
It appears that ICE agents have been targeting black neighborhoods and specifically apartment complexes where they know majority of the population of those buildings are black Americans who are native to America, ergo American citizens. This was a threat that was told to us by Kamala Harris and many people that he would send troops after citizens and that he definitely would do his darndest to go after Latinos first, Asians second, and then us. Stay vigilant, stay safe, because who knows what's going to happen. The Governor Prichter is fighting against Trump now, pushing back on Trump sending in the army and the military, which he's still planning to do. But ICE agents have ramped up their efforts in Chicago over the last couple of days because of this, including now black people.
Not enough people are talking about the South Shore neighborhood that was raided in Chicago by ICE, and the ones who are talking about it, they acting so surprised that this was coming. Bro, this was always going to happen. As a black person in America, they don't like you, bro. All right? And they look at you the same way they look at an illegal. They don't want you here, bro. Okay? They don't. That just is what it is. If they could put black folks back in slavery, which I guarantee they're going to try to do that eventually, they would do that. All right? I mean, nothing about this surprises me. Y'all thought that it was just going to be illegal, quotations around illegal immigrants. No. They were always going to come for black people. They've been coming for you since you got over here. In America, you were never even supposed to be free in their eyes. Okay? So, like, seeing stuff like this, it don't surprise me. But it do surprise me when I be seeing black folks thinking that, or sometimes when I see my own group of people talking about, man, I can't believe this happened. Why? Why can't you believe it? That's your history in America. This type of stuff happening in America to you, that's your history, bro. Yeah, you overcome, but you're still targeted. And matter of fact, in this climate where people are losing their jobs, worried about if they're going to be homeless or not, one of them ICE agents is probably going to provoke somebody, unalive somebody, and then people going to be going off, and it's going to start chaos. This is, they're like, in this climate, they're going to provoke you. I guarantee it. I'm just waiting on it.
Destroyed those people's homes. Destroyed. I just got finished looking at videos, and they took everything out of the refrigerator, threw it on the floor, broke windows, destroyed fences, destroyed doors, destroyed walls, damaged all of their personal belongings, just threw everything out. So why is ICE in a black neighborhood looking for immigrants, I guess? They have moved on to getting a response from black people because, like I said earlier, we don't have that many immigrants that they should be doing a big recruiting effort.
All I got from this video. It's so sad that this happened to my people. And all this happened in Chicago. And I don't know how many other places this might happen, or where it is also happening without people probably coming online to talk about it and all that. And this is also me bringing awareness to everybody. I don't know how all this can be avoided, because it's more like tearing family apart, especially when they come in the middle of the night, because you heard what they said. They came at midnight, zipped them and took them away. Children were also taken. And there is a video that I watched, and some people were, it's just like when you were in your house sleeping and they busted. Some were even naked. You can imagine relaxing in your house at the middle of the night and somebody raided you. Not also being able to identify black people or not that. I mean, like, it's crazy on a serious note. This is crazy. Some ended up being released at 3 a.m. They were Pe0ple scaring people, scaring kids. Kids were crying. Like, how I just don't get it, because this is not okay. On a serious note, going to somebody's house in the middle of the night, what if the person is hypertensive? What if the person has high blood pressure? Because even this alone is coming to somebody's house, knocking, banging, or shooting is also enough for somebody to have high blood pressure. And they think this is okay. Nah, this is not okay. This is not at all okay. Eyes should stop. And trust me, I think this is also a very good example to also sue them. Because who goes to somebody's house in the middle of the night to, like, not even to open somebody's door? Also, this is a reminder to make sure that you have proper lock, that nobody can also barge in till, like, they will have to suffer real hard. But some might not even be able to come in. Because the way things are going already in United States of America, it's scary. And I am so sad that this happened to my people. So please be very vigilant. Be very, very vigilant. And I don't understand why, okay, you have to also, if you have ID card, driver's license or something, make sure you have one around you, maybe in your wallet or your car, make sure you have it, just to avoid some stories. But then it looks like some stories cannot even be avoided at this point in time. Yeah, that's how bad it is. I will draw the curtain here. Bye for now.